Welcome back, everybody. Amanda told us about it at the beginning of the show, a 20-point pathway to peace potentially in Gaza. Getting great reviews tonight, even the Palestinian government tonight saying they're very excited about what President Trump announced at the White House today. Joining us now, former Congresswoman and the co-founder of the Abraham Accords Caucus on Capitol Hill. She's now a U.S.-Israel Education Association fellow, former Congresswoman Cathy McMorris Rodgers. Congresswoman, great to have you on the show.
Thank you very much. It's great to be with you.
It's an honor to have you on. All right, we've had false starts in the past. I was here covering the handshake between Arafat and Clinton a long time ago. But how big a deal is this? And does this feel like maybe one of the bigger movements towards peace in the region?
Oh, I think this is definitely historic. So grateful for the leadership of President Trump. As everyone knows, we're coming up on 2 years since the terrible day on October 7th when Hamas attacked Israel horrifically. And we need a path forward. We need this to come to an end. And today, President Trump and Prime Minister Netanyahu speaking on behalf of this 20-point plan that would ensure that this is de-radicalized, a tear-free zone, that Hamas and Gaza are not going to be a threat to the neighbors in this region. We definitely need to see more details on how hearts and minds are going to be changed in that region. But Trump has an economic development plan. He has a plan to move forward, which is desperately needed.
Yeah.
Congresswoman, I want to ask you about this perception that a lot of folks who aren't big fans of Prime Minister Netanyahu, and they say, well, he doesn't mean it. He's just saying this. You know, he loves keeping this conflict going. But I want to rewind to a few hours before this meeting took place, where Bibi Netanyahu acknowledged a couple different strikes in Qatar, expressed regret for them. That seems to me like a major move and something that was probably a little personally humbling for him, that would set the stage for maybe to make this deal, I guess, a little bit more substantial. Did it come across to you like that?
Well, I certainly, Prime Minister Netanyahu understands how desperate the situation is. He understands that Israel is the only democracy in the Middle East and that they are surrounded by those that are at times been controlled by terrorists. And so I believe that Prime Minister Netanyahu understands that we must get it right, that we cannot have Hamas continuing to control Gaza, and that he has been holding out to make sure that the deal is going to ultimately protect Israel from Hamas and other terrorists. What is most encouraging right now is that Arab nations and other Muslim nations around the world are speaking out favorably on this 20-point plan. That is going to be very important as this moves forward. But we really need to, everyone's going to be waiting to hear what Hamas has to say. Hamas has to agree to this, and this is their moment. This is a time when hopefully that not just Israel and the United States of America, but other Arab nations and Muslim countries around the world and others in Europe are saying that this is the path forward.
Yeah, pretty historic. I want to talk about two players in the Middle East, one who's an ally mostly of the United States, one that's very much not an ally, Qatar and Iran. How important are they? Referee for us the roles each could play in either shepherding or thwarting this.
Well, they're both very important. President Trump, in his first term, instituted the Abraham Accords. Those nations and that agreement was historic. President Trump understands the dynamics in the Middle East. He understands what it's going to take to get Qatar, to get Iran. He was very aggressive with Iran earlier in this year, and so he knows the leadership. He put pressure on them. They know that he is serious, and I'm hopeful that they will see this as a historic agreement that it is, and come on board and say this is the path forward, while also recognizing that Israel's sovereignty needs to be recognized in that region.
Yeah, very important.
I want to ask you about the important work that you did on the Abraham Accords Caucus, because I would imagine whether you write it down or you have it in your head, you've got a list of nations that you want to see joining that as well. Who do you anticipate could be coming down the pike?
Well, certainly there's been a lot of eyes on Saudi Arabia. That's been one of the focuses. But it's been so encouraging to not just see the Abraham Accords come into fruition, see the government-to-government relationship that was built, but to see more tourism, more economic activity. We want to keep building upon that foundation. I really believe that not just government to government, but getting the people to people, the economic relationship more solidified so that everyday people see the positive impact of having this relationship in the Middle East, that it ultimately is going to be the path that brings peace and security to all in that region.
Yeah, I think President Trump said, say, maybe even a little prosperity for some of those nations, which would be great. Before we let you go, Congresswoman, you talked about probably the greatest challenge in this plan, which is, even if all the parties agree, changing hearts and minds from a long, conflicted stance in the Middle East is a tough one. How do we start that process?
Well, one of the steps that needs to be taken is in education, in the curriculum. And I know that the Trump administration is already working with organizations to ensure that the kids are not being radicalized when they're still in school, that the curriculum is such that the curriculum needs to be addressed as a part of changing hearts and minds.
Does education here in the United States play a role in that as well?
Well, absolutely. In the United States, how the United States, what's going on our college campuses, as well as in our K-12 system, recognizing Israel as a democratic nation, as well as the importance of respecting people, basic respect for humankind.
Yeah. What a good notion. We need to get that instilled again in our schools. Congresswoman, I know a lot of people who miss you on Capitol Hill. Your wake was large there, but it is sure great to have you on, and I know you're working hard on this peace plan. Great to have you join us tonight.
It's great to be with you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. All right, folks, we're going to take a quick commercial break. There's a new documentary out about the real story behind America's COVID school closures. Oh, I want to watch this one. We're going to get to that right after these messages.